Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another video. Welcome. If you are new, please consider subscribing. In today's video, we are talking about praying in the midst of distraction. All right, so today we want to look into a life of a lady, very popular one, that is of Hannah. Now, Hannah was a lady, prayerful lady, one of the key ladies in the Bible that we should follow as Christian women. So let's get into it. The story of Hannah comes from 1 Samuel 1. I'll just kind of like paraphrase the verses for you guys. All right, so Hannah has been married to Elkanah. She and her sister Peninnah were married to the same man, but then Peninnah had sons and daughters, and Hannah did not. The Bible says that her womb was shut up. For a while, she was so bitter. She was very frightened, the Bible says, very anxious, very bitter, very grieful. And her husband Elkanah said that, "Why do you weep? Am I not better to you than 10 sons?" And Hannah decided to go from their midst, and she went down to Shiloh, where she went to the temple where they worshipped, and there she prayed. The Bible says that she prayed. Now, the lesson that I want to take from the story of Hannah is this. Number one, Hannah's womb was shut. The things that we see in Hannah's life are not particularly different from the things that are in our own lives. Number one, Hannah's womb was shut. From verse 5, you read there, and it says that the Lord shut up Hannah's womb. Her womb was shut. That means that she could not have kids. That means that her destiny was cut short. Her future was cut short. If she would die, she was not going to be remembered for anything because she didn't have children. Her womb was shut up. Just like most of us, our destinies are tied up somewhere. Our destinies, our wombs are not producing what they ought to produce. Peninnah provoked her sore. In verse 7, we see that clearly. Peninnah provoked her. And this provocation comes from fellow sisters, comes from fellow church members, comes from colleagues, comes from members in our family, our relatives. They provoke us so. But to weep. In this term, it means that, everybody's succeeding. Everybody's doing their own thing. They're succeeding there. They're being promoted. They've just gotten that job, or they just graduated and they have this prosperous job, and you have been left in this situation where you feel like, God, are you even hearing me? God, you see that I've been here for 10 years, but you are not answering my prayers. So all these things of people's successes can actually provoke you. So story behind this is not particularly about the successes of the people, but it is really about narrowing down into Hannah's life and see what was Hannah really doing. So I want to get into that. So these are particularly the lessons that I have picked up from the story of Hannah. If you've been blessed so far, please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and let's get into it. So the Bible says in Samuel 1 verse 9, it says that, "And Hannah rose up after they had eaten in Shiloh, and after they had drunk, and Eli the priest sat upon the seat of post of the temple of the Lord." Now, what you see in this verse is that Hannah arose. I love Hannah. Hannah rose. She stood up from the midst of complications. Sometimes you need to arise. You need to come out of amongst them. You need to isolate yourself. You need to go to a place where only you and God can be. You need to find a place for yourself where you're going to find the answers that you need, the word that you need. You need that. You need to arise from your situation. And the more you are in those presences, the devil comes and say that you are good for nothing. You are not chosen. Just leave your degree. I told you not to study that. You understand? So you need to arise. She arose. And where did she go? Verse 9 says that she arose and she went to the temple. So you need to arise. You need to go to the temple. You need to go to where the fellowship of God is. You need to go into the presence of God. You need to find that place for yourself where you find yourself not wanting, where you are able to pour out your heart, where in this presence, God can actually hear what you are saying with your tears, with the little words that you're saying, and God is able to answer. So you need to go to the temple. You find that place for you in prayer. Go to God. She arose and she went to God. She didn't arise and go to a shebeen or a pub, but she arose and she went to the temple. She went to the altar. She went and she crushed her spirit. She crushed her heart. She crushed her whole being to the Lord. Because sometimes we crush ourselves but to people, but we need to crush ourselves to the throne of God. The Bible says that come boldly to the throne of grace and I will show you mercy. We need to go to the altar. We need to go to the altar. Go to the altar, sis. That same verse, you realize that in another version, I read the Message Bible, and it says that she rose up quietly. Why? She rose up like, I don't care. I don't care what your all successes are about. I care about my own problem. I want to find out what is my problem. Why am I not able to get my answer? Why is God not able to answer me on my prayer? Why is he answering you and not answering me? Let's go back to what the issue really is. Not dwell on your success and how God did it for you. Let me find out what God did for you, and let me try and see if it will work for me. And you go to God and ask him, God, if you can do it for her, you can surely do it for me. Would you show up in my life? Because most times we are drinking the wine of the devil. We are drinking the wine of distraction, and that's why we cannot arise. We cannot go to the temple of God. We cannot go to the altar, because we have drank this wine so much that it is now consuming us. Her soul was bitter. This wine will make you bitter. The wine that the devil gives you in this distraction is going to make your soul bitter. You are going to be worn out. You're going to be anxious. You're going to be fighting, and you will not get your answer because you're not fighting in the right place. I believe that verse 10, she arose because she said, you know what? I don't care. I don't care what you're going to say about me. I'm going to God. I'm going to that altar. And most times, the reason why people don't go is because they care too much about what people are saying. There was a time I was reading a post of someone, and they said, I hope God gives you the desires of your heart because you're praying so much. But prayer is supposed to be our nature. Prayer is supposed to be what we ought to do daily. In verse 19, the Bible says that the Lord remembered her. The Lord remembered her because she prayed, because she had a broken heart, because she cried unto the Lord. She said, Lord, why? And God answered her. God remembers our prayers, and he is not unrighteous to forget. He's not unrighteous like we are. He is righteous, and he remembers and he answers our prayer. Verse 1, it says that, and Hannah's mouth was enlarged. She had rejoiced. She was worshiping God. She was praising God. And enlarged means that she went to share her testimony to other women that were struggling with what she was struggling with, to give them hope, to give them a future, and say that, listen, God did it for me. He can surely do it for you. One of the things that I love about Hannah is that Hannah kept her promise. She said that when you give me this child, I will not shave his hair. And she got Samuel, and all the days of Samuel's life, Samuel was dedicated unto the Lord, and he served the Lord. And in verse 26 of chapter 2, you see that Samuel grew in favor with God and with men because of his mother's vow. She vowed that she was going to bring up this child in the presence of God. And so many times we have vowed to God, God, if you do this, I'll do this. If you do this, I'll do this. But I'm here to tell you that do not forget the vow you have made unto God. Do not despair. Do not drink the wine of the destruction. In your destruction moment, do not. Arise and go to the altar where God will give you hope for your situation. I hope you've been blessed by this message. I'll see you guys in my next one. Bye.